am here to talk about the book I just finished reading, my first read of the year, which was Behind the Door, The Dark Truths and Untold Stories of the Cecil Hotel by Amy Price. Amy Price was the manager, I guess, general manager of the Cecil Hotel from about 2007. Well, I don't think she was made manager in 2007. She started working there and became manager a couple years later. But up until its closing, the Cecil Hotel is still around in kind of a different form now. But anyway, if you are a true crime person, you probably know the Cecil Hotel as the place where Elisa Lam disappeared and then was found in the rooftop water tank some weeks after her disappearance. And it's also, I think, a place where Richard Ramirez, the serial killer, I think he was called the Night Stalker, he was known to live or stay there for some amount of time. Was that in the 80s, I guess? And yeah, so the Cecil is known like as a haunted hotel or, you know, kind of a bad vibe. I think maybe that season of American Horror Story Hotel was based in part on the Cecil. I don't know that for sure. I didn't watch that whole season. I watched the first few episodes and I was like, wasn't for me, so I never finished it. But because it also, I think, had some H.H. Holmes kind of stuff going on in that season too. So I don't think it was wholly the Cecil, but certainly was drawing from various things like that. I picked this book up at the library based only on the cover and my knowledge of the Cecil. I do like true crime. I have seen the Netflix documentary, so that was good information going in. I guess one would have to wonder why you would pick up this book if you didn't already have an interest in the Cecil, but this is really more of a memoir. Price talks about, very early on, she just kind of explains her background and then talks about her move to California, how she ended up working at the Cecil, and then there's stuff about her love life and her jewelry business. She designs, makes jewelry, sells it at art shows, that kind of thing. Her eventual interior design business, things like that. So a lot of people picking this book up, I noticed in reviews on Goodreads after I read it, were like, this wasn't true crime, this wasn't ghost stories about this hotel. And no, this book isn't that. I still gave it 4 stars because I thought what was there was very interesting. It's a relatively short book, quick read, very readable. I know that some people would find it boring, maybe because they're like, what do I care about this woman's life? But what I found interesting was the way that Price chose to spotlight the Cecil as kind of a place where people go to be forgotten, or forgotten people go to kind of exist, really. It's really more of a social commentary. It's more like Price coming to understand some of her privilege and just realizing there's whole segments of society she had never thought about before or had interacted with before. And I found that interesting and enlightening. I think I just identify a little bit with Price because it sounds like we have very similar personalities. And she is about my age. I want to say maybe a year older than me, based on, she mentions when she graduated from high school, and it sounded like she graduated from high school or college like the year before I did. And so yeah, and as a creative person, Price mentions many times that she didn't feel confident enough to, go out on her own and, make her interior design and her jewelry business like a full-time thing. And yeah, as a creator, I still struggle with that self-doubt and the ability to go out and do stuff like that. So I think this book spoke to me because it was kind of on my level. It wouldn't be for everyone, because it does have a couple of chapters about Elisa Lam and, you know, what happened with that. And Price wasn't there when Richard Ramirez was there, so it mentions him in passing saying, yeah, it was kind of a known thing that he used to be here, but like, it's you know, these aren't ghost stories. These are very sad stories of some of the people who lived and died in the Cecil, you know, because society kind of sent them there to die. I remember thinking as I was reading it, and she was trying to kind of identify what, like, the Cecil wasn't like some kind of evil entity or whatever. I remember thinking, you know, it's kind of more like a drain. I think there are places that become drains and people go to circle the drain, and it's just one of those the places in society that we just let people kind of go to slip away, right? To funnel the dirt, so to speak. But yeah, for me it was interesting and eye-opening, and therefore I gave it, like I said, 4 stars on Goodreads. I think it was more like a 3.75. It was not what I was expecting, which is why I want to tell people who are interested that if you are looking for true crime and ghost stories, this is not it. But for what it was, I found it very readable, and you know, it was a quick read and interesting. And if people are like, yeah, I don't really care about this woman's life or the day-to-day running of a hotel, then this book may not be for you, because this is a lot about the hospitality industry, where it intersects with law enforcement and you know, paramedics coming on a semi-regular basis, like the difficulties of running like what amounted to a hostel at the same time that you're also running what's considered like a residential, because a lot of those people were long-term tenants. They paid by the month to live in this old hotel. And there are laws involved in that, and I think Price did a good job of explaining some of those difficulties, and there were many, many lawsuits involved, and yeah, so to me, I find that stuff interesting, but again, some people wouldn't, and that's not what they might pick this book up for. I picked it up thinking one thing, but with an open mind, and, you know, I still enjoyed what I got out of this book. So go forth knowing that if you're interested, that's what this book is. And I mean, she does talk a bit about the Netflix documentary towards the end, and how the way it was edited and stuff was a little bit, I mean, as these things are, a little bit misleading. She got death threats, I watched that documentary, and there was never at any point where I was like, this woman's sketchy. I think she killed Elisa. Why would she kill a patron of the... I don't know. To me, I'm just like, I don't get it. Not that I've gone to go look up any conspiracy theories on it, but that feels like a weird leap in logic to me. But anyway... yeah, that's about it. That was Behind the Door by Amy Price. And yeah, it's Golden Globes night. We've got our ballots filled out. Really hard to fill out a ballot this year because there are so many good movies, so many strong contenders, and the voting body for the Globes is very different than the guilds and the critics associations and the Academy, right? Like, so they're a little less predictable, but also a little bit less of an indicator of who's likely to win things like the Oscars, right? But it's still fun, and in some cases I just picked who I wanted to win because I was like, I have no idea. I'll just pick the person I like. But there are a lot of people I like, so even that was a hard trick. We watched Maestro last night. It was okay. Watched Anatomy of a Fall a couple of nights ago. That was, I don't know, after all the hype, I was kind of, I don't know. It's a very French film, maybe. But yeah, so I mean, we haven't seen everything, but we have seen a good sampling of the contenders, which positions us well going into the night and into awards season, and we're still chipping away at a bunch of stuff we still want to see. But in any case, if you are an awards, film, television award type person, enjoy your night. I think we're going to order in. Sometimes I even dress up, like, you know, I put on my jewelry, I get one of my fancy dresses on. I don't know if I'm feeling that today. It's kind of cold here. It's Northern California, but it's like the coldest day we've had in a long time. So getting dressed up is not like super enticing right now, the amount of work that goes into it, and then just being cold for like some amount of time. So plus we're planning to order in, and I don't want to get stuff on my nice dress, so I'll probably actually just shower and get in my jammies even before the before the ceremony starts. Get comfy. Yeah, so in any case, if you've seen any of the awards contenders, let me know your favorites, what you think should win. If you're watching this before the ceremony, you can tell me what you think will win. But in any case, it's always fun to talk about stuff like that. If you want a video more about Anatomy of a Fall and or Maestro, I can do that. Just let me know if you're interested. And until next time, take care.